Nothing is wrong other than you being a lazy self-entitled brat that may truly be depressed. You asked doctors until they gave you one, until they gave you drugs, and all to make a video about getting drugs and a placard. WTF. You only wanted to park up front and to park free in Hollywood for auditions. Should have listened to your father. Lazy f.
Hey holograms, it's new! So today's topic is a little bit hard to talk about, but I think it's really important. So a couple of years ago I did a vlog when I finally got my handicap parking placard. It was something that I had avoided getting because I was programmed to believe that I didn't deserve it, that I wasn't sick enough, that I was just a faker, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, despite how much I was struggling. I mean, I'm talking one trip to the grocery store could take me weeks to recover from. The pain was unbearable, I'd be throwing up, I could end up in the hospital. That's how sick I have been all of these years. I have my good moments when I don't need my handicap parking placard, but I have really rough days. In this video, I explain all of that. I explain the struggle that I went through, getting doctors to, recognize that I needed it because, doctors, they have to watch you for a while. At least in my case, they needed to watch me deteriorate over like 4 years before they were like, ooh, yeah, you're really struggling. You need this. Here, take this. And despite explaining all of that and explaining why we shouldn't judge people with invisible illnesses for using a handicap parking placard, I still, to this day, get some pretty nasty comments on that video. I get comments from non-disabled people and disabled people telling me, you don't need it, you're just entitled. It's crazy to me that there's this empathy shut off, you know what I mean? Like, I explain everything that I deal with. I have ulcerative colitis, fibromyalgia, myalgic encephalomyelitis, which is chronic fatigue syndrome. I have narcolepsy, and I am now recovering from atlas subluxation, which, recovery doesn't mean I'm gonna like one day be fine and be better. It's a very painful healing process. It's been years since I got the adjustment. I'm still in a lot of pain in my spine every day. I mean, like I said, one trip to the grocery store, weeks to recover. If there's something that I can do to reduce that recovery time and to reduce my pain levels, to save my energy and save my spoons, then it's really, really important and it's worth it. And that's what I try to communicate to other spoonies. If going to the store makes me that sick because of the energy that it takes out of me, that I can't eat when I get home, that I can't bathe, that all I can do is get in bed and be in horrible pain and be unable to even lift a spoon to my mouth, having a handicap parking placard, which allows me to park closer, use less energy, have more spoons when I get home so that I can actually do something after I put the food up, because that's another thing. Putting the food up can take like 2 or 3 spoons out of me depending on how many bags I had to carry. I don't have help with this shit, you know what I mean? Sometimes I ask a friend to help me, but most of the time I'm doing this on my own. I don't have someone to go to the store with me. It's so bizarre. Like, people get really mad at me in that video and they tell me things like, oh, well, just only use it on days that you need it. As if I'm like, I feel good today, I'm gonna park closer just because I'm f***ing lazy, right? So I'm gonna pull in and use my handicap parking placard when I feel fine. That's another thing too that one of my followers brought up. It's like, this goes for a lot of spoonies. We could start off having a good day, like, oh, my pain level is kind of moderate, it's not severe yet. Maybe I don't need to use my parking placard. And so we'll park farther to try to leave that space open for other people who need it, right? Try to be courteous about it all the time. I'm always thinking like, I don't need it today, I'm not going to use it. I'm always thinking about that. I'm not like, ooh, it's mine, I'm taking it. You know what I mean? Even if I'm having a good day, I could get all that shopping done, and that causes a flare-up, and then I get home and I'm still in shape. It's really sad to me that so many people believe that people with chronic invisible illnesses should force themselves to endure pain and get sicker just because we may be physically able to walk. And that's usually what it boils down to. I hate to say it. People say you're not disabled because you can actually still walk. Just because someone with a chronic illness can walk doesn't mean that every step of the way isn't horribly painful. It doesn't mean that they're not dizzy by the time they get to the checkout. I mean, people have this image, I think, of me like rolling out the red carpet and like, oh, I'm here, here's my parking placard, I get to park at the front of the store. It's not like that. On days when I'm using it, I drive to the store, I'm feeling like shit. I'm foggy, I'm gonna throw up, my colon is bleeding, my spine is on fire, my nerves are on fire. I have to rest until I know I can get out of my car without vomiting. And then get up and walk into the store and do all of my shopping. And then by the time I'm done and I get back in my car to go home, I have to rest before I go home. Try to have some compassion. Try to exercise your empathy. Imagine what it must be like to have a disability where, sure, you may be able to still walk, but you suffer for it every day. But the next 2 weeks, you don't get anything done because you're stuck in bed, throwing up into a bucket, crying, wondering how you're gonna do this on your own. Even with an accommodation, like a handicap parking placard, which really helps. But I think, people have this disconnect. They see me and they think, well, you're not sick, you look great. I get stupid comments all the time like, oh, forget your illnesses, you have marble skin. That's literally a comment I got recently. Like, what the hell does my skin have to do with my illnesses? Like, girl, I worked in skincare, I know how to take care of my face, and I've got makeup on. That doesn't mean that I'm not in pain. You guys don't see me when I'm in bed with ice packs and on like 5 different kinds of drugs in a depressive spiral because I can't edit videos, or I had to miss a day at work, or I can't go see friends, I can't go to an event in Little Tokyo. Like, there's so much that I miss out on because I use that energy on trying to do adult things and working a job and doing everything that I do. Sick people using a handicap parking placard is not taking anything away from disabled people. And the thing is too, there are people with my exact same illnesses who cannot walk sometimes. They have flare-ups where they get in a wheelchair. They have to be in it because it literally will make them have to go to the hospital because your body starts spiraling when you're in that kind of pain and fatigue. If you've ever had the kind of fatigue where you start throwing up, I've been there, I go through it a lot, and I really, really empathize with you because it is a place to be. And people don't get it. People have a hard time processing it. They think, oh, well, you're just a cute, kawaii little blah, you can't be sick. And it's like, no, you need to look beyond that. That's so shallow. That's really shallow. I want to just read some of the comments to you guys. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people really related to the stuff that I talk about in my original vlog, and then there's a lot of people who say pretty things. So here's one, kind of like I said. Just don't use it on days you don't need it for the parking. Same with the pills. When it's extreme pain, take it. You lose your pain tolerance. Antidepressants can block pain. It's a process. Anti-inflammatories, then anti blah blah blah. Like telling me stuff I already know. Unsolicited advice that has nothing to do with the video. The video is, I'm saying, this is where I'm at. This is what I've been doing for my pain. I'm really good at managing my chronic illnesses. I'm not asking for advice. I'm telling you, despite everything I do and the thousands of dollars I've spent managing my illnesses, seeing doctors, doing alternative care, everything that I do on my own, my 5 to 6 hour pain management routine I do every afternoon, I still struggle and I need parking placards so that I will not suffer as much and not be as sick and not have to miss as many days at work. People for some reason think, oh, well, you just need these pills, you need to blah. People try to tell me and it's really annoying. Like, it's sweet that they think that I'm just like some naive kid who doesn't know any better, but I explain in all of my other videos that I've been going through this for years. Like, I'm a pro. That doesn't mean that I don't need help. The most hurtful comments are definitely from people in the disabled community, like, for example, people in wheelchairs, because it's almost like they completely ignore everything I say because I don't know, like I said, even though I explain my chronic illnesses and how on a cellular level, my mitochondria do not make ATP correctly, which is why I take a shit ton of supplements to help every day. Like, there's that, the fatigue part of it, but also the pain part of it, and the vomiting, and the fact that my colon bleeds. Guys, my colon is bleeding. I'm not talking about, a tummy ache. I'm talking about, anemia and vomiting and spinal pain that feels like I'm being electrocuted and not being able to see color right because of the pressure in my spine. And I get comments like this from this guy says, "You do not need a handicap parking placard." He watched my whole video where I explain my illnesses and my struggle and what I had to do to get doctors to take me seriously, and this is the first thing he said. And in my response, I was a little mad, but I tried to reel it in. I said, "I know it can be hard to understand invisible illnesses in people who look to be very well, but please try to cultivate compassion and support for everyone in the community equally, even if you do not understand their disabilities and how they affect them. We all deserve to live our best lives and not push ourselves trying to keep up. I may be able to walk steadily now, but that doesn't mean that every step is not painful or wearing me out. It does not mean that I don't spend days recovering after simple outings. It does not mean my disabilities are any less valid." And his response was, "I repeat, you do not need a handicap card." Again, empathy shut off. Nope, not gonna care about you and your struggles. It's so hurtful because there are so many people who are really struggling with chronic illness, with invisible illness, who never get a handicap parking placard. They're scared of that kind of response. They're scared of people not believing them, people thinking they're fakers. They're scared of like this idea that they're taking it from other people. Like, that's like saying, "Oh, well, you shouldn't get these antibiotics because there are people who have worse infections than you. You should try to let your immune system handle it on its own." That's bullshit. It's dangerous. A lot of people are suffering and pushing themselves through flare-ups and struggling on their own because they feel like they don't count. They're not sick enough to have a handicap parking placard when they absolutely would benefit from it. We have to care about everyone equally in the community. If someone is struggling, they deserve accommodation. It's not even about deserving it. They need accommodation to live their fullest life. That's what this is about. This is about giving us little things that help make life easier. If we can help make life easier for those of us who have these kind of struggles, we can be more productive, we can be happier, we can follow our dreams. Now with my placard, I can park closer if there's a handicap spot, but most of the time, this is what happens. I park at a meter. That's what people don't get too, which is hilarious, is most of the time I'm using my placard when I park at meters, because this is LA, there's meters everywhere. If I'm going to a store or a doctor somewhere that has a handicap parking placard and there's one available for me on a day when I'm in a lot of pain, yeah, I'll use it. I'll use my best judgment. But it's really not this situation, guys, where I'm like, ooh hoo hoo hoo, cool spot for me, close by to the door, I can be lazy, woo hoo 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 hoo. It's not like that. It's, holy shit. I think I'm gonna puke. Am I gonna puke? I feel dizzy. My spine hurts a lot. I need to get food. I'm out of food at home, but I can only carry so much, so maybe I'll just get a few things. I don't know, maybe I should call someone. Okay, I'm gonna park here. I'm gonna rest for a minute. Alright, I'm in the store. It's been 10 minutes. I don't feel good. I should get out of here. It's been 30 minutes. Okay, I have everything I need. I need to go. My lungs are aching. I can tell on my Garmin that my heart rate is up. I can't hear anything the lady at the register is saying because of the brain fog, because I'm in pain. I pay, and I push the cart out to my car, load everything in, take the cart back, and practically collapse in my car and rest for a while before I go home. That is the reality. It's not me being cool and sliding up into a handicapped parking spot and getting benefits that I don't deserve. I responded to that guy again, by the way. I know I probably shouldn't have. I try to like not waste my energy on this kind of shit anymore, but this is like a sensitive subject and it's really important for me to talk about it. I said, and I was pissed off at this point, I said, "It's very interesting to me that you feel that way. However, you are wrong. And attitudes like this are what keep other people with invisible illnesses and disabilities from seeking the resources they need to live their lives more comfortably. More comfortably. No one should have to force themselves to struggle and suffer just because other people turn disability into a bitter contest." If you've ever gone to the store and you saw someone pull up into a handicap parking placard and then they got out of the car and they weren't in a wheelchair, they didn't have a cane, a neck brace on, anything like that, and your first thought was ever, whoa, they can walk, they're not disabled, they don't need that spot. Take a step back. You're not their doctor, You're not their friend. You're not their family. You have no idea what's going on with them. They could have cancer. They could have my illnesses. They could have something that's degenerative and that's gonna make them end up in a wheelchair eventually. I don't know where I'm gonna end up. I'm gonna keep fighting and taking care of my body. But if at some point I need a mobility aid, I can't be ashamed of it. I'm not gonna be scared of it. I love my body. My body has taken me everywhere in this earth that I wanted to go. And I'm gonna step in before anyone comes in and say, oh, well, there is actually like handicap parking fraud. Yes, that's very true. But you don't solve that by harassing actual disabled, chronically ill people. You don't solve that by telling me that I and everyone else with my illnesses need to make ourselves sicker. I don't use my handicap parking placard every day. It's there when I need it. Just like my emergency medications are there when I need them. Just like the urgent care is there when I need it, when I have insurance, when I've been throwing up, when I need an IV. Do you hear yourself when you say these things? You have no idea what someone is going through, and to try to judge them because they can physically walk is so messed up. I'm lucky that I haven't had like an encounter, but I know people who have been harassed in real life with notes on their car or with people walking up to them and being like, hey, you're not disabled, you're a faker, you're using that spot and you can walk. If that happened to me, I would most definitely start crying because I probably, if I'm using that spot, I'm in a lot of pain and I'm really fragile at that point anyway. My spoonies, whether you have the handicap parking placard or you're still trying to get it from your doctors, please do not feel guilty about using something that you need. We don't feel guilty about taking our medication, right? Hopefully. Sometimes we do, I know I do. When I'm in a lot of pain and I have to take a tramadol and like 5 other medications, I feel guilty. And it's just what life is for us. We're in pain a lot. And that's not being negative or self-limiting. Like, if I was self-limiting, I wouldn't be doing everything that I'm doing despite how sick I am most days. We are all fighters. You are a fighter. And fighting doesn't mean you have to make yourself worse by enduring stuff. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Use your handicap parking placard. If you don't have one, if you're with family and they're driving, ask them to park closer. Say, hey, I'm in a lot of pain right now. I'm feeling really woozy. Can you please park closer to the movie theater? That way I don't have to walk so much. Communicate. I know it's hard, guys. I know firsthand how hard it is. Alright, I know that's kind of a heavy subject. I know it's pretty controversial, and if I get more negative comments, I can't do anything about other people's attitudes, unfortunately. I know it's really confusing to people because I'm young and they think, you can't have anything wrong with you, blah. That's part of the problem, unfortunately. Like, what do I have to do? Sometimes I have to go to the market in my neck brace when my neck is flaring because my spasm, I just can't. I can't hold my neck up, but I shouldn't have to wear that every time just so that I have some kind of visible thing. Like, there are people with PTSD who need the handicap parking placard because if they start freaking out in the store, they need to be able to get back into their car. To decompress and calm down, okay? Like, I have PTSD. I don't use my handicap parking placard for that, but I have had, relapses, triggers, like, in public, where I've had to, like, run away and, like, get somewhere where I can decompress, and I understand what it's like. We have to stop judging each other. We have to stop dividing. This whole thing where you're trying to pit physically disabled people against chronically ill people? Like, what are you trying to accomplish there? I don't understand. We're all a community of people who are failed by the government a lot of the times, who are failed sometimes by family and friends, who, maybe nothing is wrong with them, but they just can't be there for us in the way that we need them. And we are really, really strong for everything that we endure. But that doesn't mean we have to wear ourselves out. Take care of yourselves. Please take your rest breaks. Take your medication. Talk to your doctors when you can. Alright, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for your continued support over the years. Thank you to all of my patrons. You guys are all helping me pay for my medication and my supplements and all of my pain management stuff. Seriously, I could not be doing this without you. It means so much to me. Special shout out to my superstar holograms. Wow. Love you guys. Good luck, kiss. And may the spoons be with you, okay? Bye. It's time to rest.
This is my 4th video and I'm in a lot of pain. So I'm gonna go take a hot bath now, okay?
Bye! Thank you to my patrons. Alright, thank you. Alright?